Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch is a much loved throwback to the mid-2000s and the era of the male-oriented smaller Panerai Luminor. Back when 40 was a size marketed to men who wanted a smaller watch rather than Panerai's more recent forays in the ladies' watches, these smaller Luminors were well regarded. You're looking at the 40mm steel Panerai Luminor Power Reserve PAM 126. It's unusual in a lot of respects. It's a complicated Panerai, it's a smaller Panerai, it's a full bracelet Panerai. The model was made from 2002 to 2005. This one's a G series made in 2004. It is 40mm in diameter, 16mm thick from lug tip to lug tip, 48mm. And then if we go end link to end link, total distance across the wrist is 55. So this is a smaller Panerai, not a quote unquote small Panerai. The spacing between the lugs is 22mm. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. And this has always been my favorite Panerai Luminor case size. Again, not a small watch, a smaller watch. And the idea, I think, was to get a little bit closer to Rolex case sizes so you could have a full bracelet Panerai sports watch that was competing with a Rolex watch in a similar size class and would almost in every case have had a bracelet equipped. So this was Panerai getting a little bit ambitious, but still remembering where it came from. On a 16 centimeter wrist, this wears just fine. I'd recommend this for a wrist 15 centimeters circumference and up. It's not thick, but it's not thin. It does have a very sloped bezel. It will fit easily underneath a jacket cuff and some shirt sleeves. Though it is not large, it is not light. It is 201 grams, which is quite impressive for a watch that's not precious metal, so it's very solid. Taking a look at the bracelet, you can see it's actually a biplanar design with these superimposed links over the bottom, and you can see the upper ones are polished, the lower ones are satin brushed, and that the upper links are actually shaped to echo the iconic device protecting the crown. If you take a look at the bottom, you'll realize that on both sides of the bracelet, every single link can be removed, so this can be sized quite precisely. And it also has scalloping between the different links to avoid pinching skin, pulling hair, or trapping wrist heat. Now, where it attaches to the case, it attaches the same way a Panerai strap would, with the screws and bars. So if you are a Paneristi, you probably already have the screwdrivers at home to get straight to strap swapping. And this watch also looks great on a strap. So screws and bars are the more expensive way of attaching a strap or a bracelet to a case. They are more secure than spring bars, and I always like to see this. When Panerai went to spring bars, that was a sign that things were getting cheaper and more voluminous. At lower volume, with more money invested, Panerai was able to build them right. Screws and bars is the right way. You can also see that the buckle is a double folding clasp, and then it's a twin trigger release. So you have quite a bit of security when this is closed, and you must press both triggers to open it up. Rolling around to the case, it is the case design created in 1993 for the first civilian Officine Panerai watches by Panerai machinist Alessandro Bettorini. So this is often known as the Bettorini case, in contrast to the later 1950. The device protecting the crown is so iconic that I can cover everything about this watch, and you still know what brand and what model line, Panerai Luminor. But it's not just iconic, and it is iconic. It's also very practical. The idea back when all Panerai combat watches were manual wind was to take the lessons learned with the Rolex-built cases, and the oyster crowns on the Rolex cases, they had to be threaded in and out and in and out and in and out because you were constantly winding and setting those manual wind watches. Well, that would wear out the stem tube assembly, the seals. So this idea was brought to market in the early 1950s. You merely decompress and release the crown, or you compress the crown seals. You're not threading in and out, in and out, in and out. So once I lift this up, you can see on the case back, this watch is water resistant and quite water resistant to 300 meters, but the crown is immediately disengaged, allowing me to wind it. We have a power reserve indicator on this PAM 126, and you can see it traversing the dial up to its 42-hour maximum power reserve. It's also an automatic watch, so you don't need to do this, but it is fun. Now, another feature here, because I'm just compressing and decompressing the seals, I can quickly pull the crown out and and start setting the date with the quick set, or I can pull the crown out all the way and now activate the stop seconds function and set the watch precisely to a known accurate reference time. One thing that Panerai has always done well is date magnifiers, whereas Rolex puts them as a superstructure on the crystal, which is a little bit odd to see and also can be subject to traumatic removal by accident. Panerai puts the magnifier under the crystal, so you get the legibility of the date, but you also don't have the little wart-like protuberance. This is what a Panerai fan, or paneristi, would call a sausage dial. We have these rather thick applique of painted luminova on the dial rather than a two-piece sandwich construction with depth. This is very, very luminescent. You will find that there's absolutely no shortage of it. Luminor, once upon a time, was a Panerai product that was a less radioactive luminescent paint than the prior Panerai product, which was Radiomir, which was based on radium and had a half-life of over 1,000 years and emitted gamma radiation. So once upon a time, Radiomir was a paint and Luminor was a paint. Today, they represent model lines, but Panerai watches are still renowned for luminescence. You can also see the dial is matte black, otherwise featureless, with the exception of these contrasting scales for the seconds and then the power reserve. What we have inside is an unusual adaptation of the Valjoux 7750. It's called a 7750 P1, and essentially it's a 7750 with the chronograph parts removed. It's still a unidirectional automatic winder, 42-hour power reserve, 4 Hz beat rate, 21 joules, quick set, stop seconds, power reserve indicator, 30 millimeter diameter. It's also in chronometer grade, so it is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer movement that has been adjusted in 5 positions. So there's actually quite a lot to love about this watch. And it's a durable movement. It's a tough movement. Panerai historically, 30s, 40s, 50s, really through the 1990s, the heyday of first military and then civilian Panerai watches, they were never known for manufacture movements, just very tough, accurate, and purpose-appropriate, application-specific movements that could do the job and live up to the boasts of the design of the watch, and this one certainly can. And with 300-meter water resistance, you've got quite a lot of flexibility. This movement in Panerai speak, though 7750 based, is called the OP9. So if you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.